What's happening, trendsetters? Welcome back to Google Trends Hub, where we dive deep into the stories that are shaping your digital world. The news cycle never sleeps, and neither do we. We're bringing you the hottest updates you absolutely cannot miss. Get ready for a rapid-fire rundown of what's making waves. First up, are the days of custom Android ROMs numbered? We've got the inside scoop on the changes that might be leaving enthusiasts out in the digital cold. Then, we're zeroing in on your phone's most used app, your browser. Is the one you're using secretly collecting more data than you think? We'll break down which ones to avoid. Plus, get ready for a look at the upcoming iPhone 17 rumors. How many features will feel familiar to Android users? And finally, a new Android malware is making headlines, masquerading as something you trust. Stick around, because you're about to get plugged into the trends that matter. Don't go anywhere. The end of an era. Custom Android ROMs face uncertain future. The landscape of Android customization, once a vibrant frontier for enthusiasts, appears to be shrinking. The era of easily installing custom ROMs, alternative versions of the Android operating system, is facing significant challenges, with many pointing to Google's evolving policies as a primary driver. The recent announcement from CalyxOS, a prominent privacy-focused Android distribution, that it is freezing future releases for an indefinite period, has sent ripples through the custom ROM community. This pause, coupled with the departure of key project leaders, leaves users of this once popular alternative in a precarious position. Without crucial security updates, the viability of any operating system, especially one built around enhanced privacy, is severely compromised. CalyxOS has been a significant player, offering a de-Googled experience while retaining much of Android's user-friendly functionality. It provided support for a wide array of devices, including many from Google's own Pixel line and select Motorola and Fairphone models. This broad compatibility contrasted with its competitor, GrapheneOS, which has stricter hardware requirements, primarily focusing on Google Pixel devices due to their enhanced security features. CalyxOS utilized MicroG, an open-source implementation of Google Play services, allowing users to access many app functionalities without installing Google's proprietary suite. GrapheneOS, conversely, employs a more rigorous sandboxing approach for Google apps, limiting their access to phone data. While CalyxOS didn't push the boundaries of security as far as GrapheneOS, it offered a compelling balance for those seeking to reduce Google's pervasive influence. The current hiatus for CalyxOS, estimated to last between 4 to 6 months, perhaps longer, is attributed to the need for infrastructure upgrades and improved documentation. This isn't an isolated incident. Projects like Paranoid Android and Pixel Experience have also experienced developmental lulls before eventually ceasing operations. CalyxOS has assured its user base of its eventual return, but the abrupt resignation of its leadership team casts a shadow of uncertainty. This leaves GrapheneOS as the primary remaining privacy-first Android OS, though its limited hardware support due to Google's hardware sales regions makes it less accessible for many. Furthermore, the requirement to purchase Google hardware to utilize GrapheneOS is a sticking point for some. The challenges facing custom ROMs are multifaceted, extending beyond user interest and development pauses. Hardware manufacturers have also played a role. Companies like LG and Essential, once known for their flexibility towards modders, have exited the smartphone market. Sony, while still producing phones, has become too niche to foster a significant developer community. OnePlus, a brand that initially courted enthusiasts with easily unlockable bootloaders and active developer engagement, has shifted its focus, offering fewer resources and less community support. This leaves a market dominated by manufacturers with increasingly restrictive policies. Google's own Pixel line, while theoretically open, has seen a reduction in developer support compared to the earlier Nexus series. Crucially, Google has ceased providing essential components like driver binaries and device trees for Pixel devices within the AOSP codebase, hindering custom development. Samsung, a major player, implements strict bootloader policies, including a permanent fuse that trips upon unlocking, disabling features like Samsung Pay and Secure Folder, and devaluing devices on the used market. There are also indications that Samsung might discontinue bootloader unlocking altogether in future One UI releases. Software restrictions imposed by Google are equally significant. The introduction of Google's Play Integrity API, a successor to SafetyNet, presents a formidable obstacle. This API enforces stricter device integrity checks that most custom ROMs struggle to pass, preventing certain applications, particularly banking and payment services, from running. While workarounds existed for SafetyNet, the Play Integrity API is more robust. Even with a relocked bootloader, some apps can still verify device integrity against factory states. This mechanism gives Google considerable power to control the aftermarket Android ecosystem. Ultimately, the convergence of hardware restrictions and Google's software policies signals a shift in Android's philosophy, moving from an open-source model towards a more tightly controlled, monetization-focused platform. The future of custom ROMs appears increasingly uncertain. Will the open spirit of Android continue to fade? Next, we uncover a hidden danger lurking in the app you use every single day. Your Android browser could be spying on you. In the digital age, the browser you choose for your Android device is more than just a portal to the internet. It's a critical gatekeeper of your personal information. While convenience often dictates choices, the most readily available option may not be the safest. For many Android users, Google Chrome serves as the default browser, its ubiquity stemming from pre-installation and seamless integration with the Google ecosystem. However, beneath its user-friendly interface and helpful features like autofill and cross-device syncing, Chrome engages in extensive data collection that could compromise your privacy. Surfshark's recent research into mobile browser data collection practices has spotlighted Chrome as the most data-hungry among major competitors. It gathers a broad spectrum of sensitive information, far exceeding that of privacy-focused alternatives. This data harvesting occurs on a massive scale, given Android's 4 billion global users. The perks offered by Chrome, faster autofill, personalized news feeds, and synchronized browsing across devices, are often directly tied to its pervasive tracking mechanisms. These features contribute to the creation of detailed user profiles, cataloging habits, preferences, and online activities, thereby increasing the risk of data breaches. Chrome's deep integration with Google's advertising and analytics networks means it's not merely displaying web pages, but actively observing and learning from user interactions. This monitoring persists even when users are not actively browsing, with background processes and embedded trackers collecting information to build comprehensive digital profiles. The pervasive nature of this tracking was underscored in a 2020 class action lawsuit against Google. As part of a settlement, Google agreed to delete billions of personal records collected during incognito sessions, although the settlement also noted that websites and third parties could still share information with Google even in private mode. Features like autofill, personalized content recommendations, and even simple actions like clicking links or lingering on pages contribute to a digital footprint that users are often unaware of, making Chrome a significant privacy concern for many. For those prioritizing privacy, switching to a browser that actively limits data collection is essential. Android's open ecosystem allows users to easily replace pre-installed browsers with alternatives like Brave, DuckDuckGo, Firefox, or Tor. These browsers employ various strategies to protect user privacy, including stripping out trackers, blocking them before they load, and ensuring browsing history remains under the user's control. By reducing the constant flow of behavioral data, these alternatives enhance online anonymity and safeguard digital footprints. While no browser guarantees perfect anonymity, these options offer significantly greater control over personal data. Making the switch is straightforward. Install a preferred browser, set it as the default, and adjust app permissions to minimize data sharing, such as location access. This immediate action reduces the volume of data leaving the device and curtails the tracking that fuels targeted advertising profiles. Although Chrome has introduced features like IP address masking to offer some protection against online tracking, the underlying, broader data collection practices continue unabated. For users who have relied on Chrome as their default browser, it is a crucial moment to reevaluate its suitability and consider the privacy implications. Is your current browser putting your privacy at risk? Next, we're looking at the upcoming iPhone 17 and asking, how many of its rumored features are old news for Android users? iPhone 17 rumors, features Android already mastered. As the tech world eagerly anticipates the launch of the iPhone 17 lineup, rumors have been swirling, hinting at innovations that could redefine the smartphone experience. However, a recurring theme in the ongoing narrative between Apple's iOS and Google's Android is that many of these anticipated features have long been staples on Android devices. This pattern, dating back over a decade, suggests that while Apple may be refining or reintroducing certain functionalities, Android has consistently been at the forefront of technological adoption. One significant rumor surrounding the iPhone 17 is the potential introduction of a significantly slimmer model, possibly dubbed the iPhone 17 Air. Leaked designs suggest a device so thin it rivals the thickness of its own buttons, a departure from the trend of increasing phone thickness to accommodate larger batteries. This design aesthetic is not new to the Android world. Samsung, for instance, recently released its Galaxy S25 Edge, a variant of its flagship S25 designed to be exceptionally thin, mirroring the rumored iPhone 17 Air's profile. The comparison highlights how Android manufacturers have explored ultra-slim designs years ahead of Apple's potential move. Another rumored design change for the iPhone 17 involves a camera bump that extends across a significant portion of the phone's back panel. This design, coupled with a potential return to aluminum frames from titanium, has been observed in leaked case renders. While a distinctive design choice, the concept of an expansive camera bump has already been implemented by Android manufacturers. The Google Pixel 9, for example, features a camera housing that spans much of its rear, albeit with a more curved, less rectangular design than what is rumored for the iPhone 17. This demonstrates a precedent set by Android devices in integrating camera modules more prominently into the phone's overall aesthetic. Thermal management is another area where Android has led the way. Rumors suggest the iPhone 17 will incorporate vapor chamber cooling, a technology that leverages the phase transition of liquids to dissipate heat effectively. This advanced cooling system has been a feature in Android phones for nearly a decade, with the Razer Phone 2 being an early adopter in 2018. Since then, manufacturers like Samsung have integrated vapor chamber cooling into their flagship devices, and Google's recent Pixel 10 also features this technology, predating Apple's rumored adoption by months. This indicates a substantial lead for Android in implementing sophisticated thermal solutions. Apple's ProMotion display technology, offering a 120 Hz refresh rate, has historically been exclusive to Pro iPhone models. However, rumors suggest the entire iPhone 17 lineup will adopt high refresh rate displays, unifying the user experience across all models. Android phones have offered high refresh rate displays across entire lineups for years. For instance, Samsung's Galaxy S20 series, launched in 2020, featured 120 Hz displays across its range. Google has also adopted this practice, equipping even its more affordable Pixel, a series phones with 120 Hz refresh rates, ensuring a consistent visual experience regardless of the price point. In terms of performance hardware, Apple's move to 8 GB of RAM with the iPhone 16 marked a significant upgrade. Rumors indicate the iPhone 17 could jump to 12 GB of RAM, potentially to support new AI features. Yet, Android phones have offered 12 GB of RAM, and even more, for quite some time. Samsung's Galaxy S21 Ultra featured 16 GB of RAM, and more recent Pixel models, like the Pixel 9, come with 12 GB. Some Chinese manufacturers are now pushing towards 24 GB of RAM. Similarly, battery capacity is another area where Android has consistently pushed boundaries. The iPhone 16 Pro Max featured the largest battery in an iPhone at 4,685 mAh, with rumors suggesting the iPhone 17 Pro Max might reach 5,000 mAh. However, Android phones have surpassed the 5,000 mAh mark for years, with devices like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra leading the way back in 2020. Finally, operating system design overhauls have seen Android consistently innovate. While iOS 7 in 2013 was a major visual shift for iPhones, Android has undergone several significant design evolutions since then, including Material Design, Material U, and Material 3 Expressive. These updates have provided Android users with more frequent and varied aesthetic changes compared to iOS users. While Apple's optimizations are renowned, the iPhone 17, like its predecessors, arrives in a market where Android has already established many of these advanced features, demonstrating Android's enduring role as an innovator in smartphone technology. It's clear Android continues to push the envelope on features. Now, a new threat emerges, disguised as a tool you might trust. New Android malware masquerades as Russian intelligence antivirus. A sophisticated new piece of Android malware is currently circulating, designed to deceive users by impersonating antivirus software purportedly developed by Russia's Federal Security Service, FSB. This highly targeted spyware, identified by Russian mobile security firm Dr. Web as Android, backdoor, 916, origin, has no known links to existing malware families, suggesting a novel and potentially state-sponsored development. Its primary objective appears to be the compromise of high-ranking executives within Russian businesses, indicating a focus on espionage and corporate intelligence gathering. The capabilities of this malware are extensive and alarming. It is equipped to snoop on private conversations, stream live video from a device's camera, log keystrokes via keylogger, and exfiltrate sensitive communication data from popular messenger applications. Dr. Webb's analysis indicates that the malware has been under continuous development since its initial discovery in January 2025, with multiple subsequent versions being sampled by researchers. This ongoing evolution suggests a persistent and adaptable threat. Evidence supporting the targeted nature of this attack includes the distribution methods, infection vectors, and the fact that the malware's user interface is exclusively available in Russian. This strongly suggests that the malware was custom-built for attacks against Russian domestic targets. Dr. Webb has observed two primary branding strategies employed by the attackers. One variant, named GuardCB, attempts to impersonate software from the Central Bank of the Russian Federation. Other versions, labeled Security FSB and FSB, are designed to appear as legitimate security programs originating from the Russian intelligence agency itself. The exclusive use of the Russian language further reinforces the hypothesis that the malware is tailored for Russian users and potentially for espionage operations against Russian entities. Despite lacking any genuine security functionalities, the malware is cleverly designed to mimic a legitimate security tool. This deceptive appearance is intended to prevent victims from removing it from their devices. Upon activation, when a user initiates a scan, the interface presents a programmed simulation. This simulation falsely reports security threats approximately 30% of the time, displaying a random number between 1 and 3 fake detections to foster a sense of urgency and legitimacy. This psychological manipulation aims to build trust and discourage immediate uninstallation. Upon installation, the malware aggressively requests a range of high-risk permissions. These include broad access to geolocation data, SMS messages, media files, camera, and audio recording capabilities. It also seeks permission to operate as an accessibility service, granting it deep control over the device, and requires permission to run continuously in the background. Once these permissions are granted, the malware establishes multiple communication channels to connect with command and control, C2 servers. Through these channels, it can receive and execute commands, allowing attackers to remotely manage the compromised device. Dr. Webb's investigation revealed that the malware possesses the capability to switch between up to 15 different hosting providers. While this resilience feature is not actively employed at present, its inclusion demonstrates the malware's design for longevity and evasion. The security firm has publicly shared the complete indicators of compromise for Android, backdoor, 916, origin on GitHub, providing crucial intelligence for cybersecurity professionals to detect and mitigate the threat. The prevalence of such targeted attacks highlights the evolving sophistication of mobile malware and the critical need for robust security measures, especially for high-value targets. This malware shows how deceptive cyber threats are becoming. That's all the trending tech news for today, but we've got a quick recap coming right up. That was a whirlwind tour of the tech world. Custom Android ROMs are facing new hurdles. Your default browser might be tracking more than you think. The iPhone 17 is borrowing heavily from Android's playbook, and a new Android malware is disguised as an FSB antivirus. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to Google Trends Hub for more essential updates, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a trend. Let us know in the comments which story surprised you the most, and follow us on all social platforms for more. See you next time.